is the day after Hurricane Dorian has threatened this fine state, and out here in Orlando it did diddly squat. I mean, it may have been, I see a few leaves down here, but I was looking at periodically, nothing going on wind-wise, not much rain. And as for sheltering at the rehab facility with staff, there were no empty rooms, so I had to settle for a sofa in the break room, and whoever described that thing as comfy needs to be shot. The only good thing was I was able to get my feet elevated. Otherwise, it was not very soft. It wasn't very wide. The pillow I had was very inadequate as far as my feet goes. I had one thin blanket with more of a really thick sheet. It was a bit loud, not very dark. And of course, when the one orderly comes in, pokes me in the feet, going, "Sorry, hello, where's your room?" As I say, not a lot of sleep. And as far as comfort goes, I'd have been much better off sleeping right here in the truck, because I got pillows there and I've got a comforter. Didn't have to worry about trooping way down the hallway to get to the bathroom, or being looked at like I had three heads because I was actually where the nearest toilet was. And they go, "Where's your room?" It's like, nobody got the memo. Okay? So let's see. I could discuss Whoopi Goldberg, smacking back Deborah Messing on the thing of, she wants a list of all the donations and point out, no, you do not, because that way, leads to, remember remember the blacklist. You don't want to do this, Deborah, because next list comes along, we'll have your name on it, and they're coming after you. So that's why I haven't thrown Whoopi Goldberg on the bus, because occasionally she still comes around with the right thought. It's like, yes, it's time to put an end to this cancel culture here, okay? Like, it's funny as hell that, now the latest Rotten Tomato scores, yes. Whopping Dave Chappelle, Sticks and Stones, whopping 17% on the professional critics, and that 70% is because one reviewer, Jeremy Johns, gave it a good review. Everyone else, oh, this is horrible. 99% audience response. If that didn't show you there's a disconnect between the professional critics and the regular people in this country, nothing will. But enough on that. Let's dovetail into this whole thing of Kristen Stewart needs to act a little less gay. And she does that, she might get a Marvel movie. Has she shown any indication she wants to be in a Marvel movie? And also, kudos to her for saying, screw you, I like the way I like. Now, I've always liked Kristen Stewart, okay? Granted, she doesn't have the greatest range, but she can perform when she's in a project she's really excited about and she's got a director that knows how to pull the strings. I thought she was great as Joan Jett in The Runaways. And behind the scenes stuff, it's like, yeah, she, because she played guitar before, but she really boned up on this one. And they're talking like, she could do the tour now. Joan can sit back and relax. Because she learned the material. Because she went for it. And she's had moments. She can do an adequate performance. Again, it's also who she's paired with. But it's also kind of funny though. It's acting a little too gay in light of the stuff they're trying to inject into the Marvel movies. Really? I thought you'd be encouraged to go even further, It's like, why stick with the buzz cut, blonde hair, go with a mohawk, I think it is, a few more signs. The tide is starting to turn. The loudest are suddenly starting to outwear their welcome. When even Joy Behar was unnerved about doing up a list of donors and stuff. It's like, that's going too far. And for Joyless Behar, yes, that's finally that is where we've reached when even Behar's saying no, that's enough. But let's see, what else can we get onto here? Well, yeah, it's just, they just... I forget who it was, but... Equality under the law has been the law of the land since... We're talking about the Equal Rights Act of 1964, going through the various subsequent things of the 60s and 70s. Okay, so legally, equality is there. You are in the promised land, people. Quit fighting. Okay. The problem is, yeah, there's going to be some there's going to be some Neanderthals in society that refuse to change, but they're also know enough now not to voice it publicly for the most part. You no longer have massed Klan marches down 16th Street in Denver or on the Washington Mall. Whenever someone does show up in the robes, it makes the national news. That's how rare it is. But some people, I'm probably on both sides, but mostly on the reactionaries, it's like they have to have a fight. They can never be satisfied that they've won. They have to move on to the next target. Case in point, they're going to make the whole thing about, with Anthony Mack, the Falcon becoming Captain America. Oh, some people can't handle a black Captain America. What are you setting this show in, 1972? Nobody cares anymore. Plus, we all like Falcon. No one's going to give a rip. He wants to be Captain America. Fine, okay, he's kind of earned it. He's been with Cap a while. And even Anthony Mack said, no, I'm not being Cap. I'm going to hold the shield, but I'm not Captain America. That's up to him, okay? And in this day and age, I think, where are they setting this thing? Central Alabama? Where they haven't got the memo that the Civil War is over with? Let me tell you something. Deep South, that's the most integrated place you're going to find these days. Where the real bigotry lies is now up north. Where these do-gooder liberal types who can't, again, these are the ones who cannot, accept the fact that the fight was won and it's over with. Move on to something productive. No, they have to have a struggle. It's got to fight. That's when gay marriage. Okay, what's next? Trans people. That's it. Yeah, we're talking less than 0.5%, and they're going to uphold the entire apple cart. For, no disrespect to the trans people. I follow a few of them on YouTube. But they're a statistical blip. Okay. You make accommodations for them, but you don't upend the entire country for a number of people that you could probably, gather them all together and fit them inside Dodger Stadium with a few seats left over. Okay? There's a point where it's like, okay, that's it, okay? Come on. Let's move on and get some real problems solved here, okay? All this energy that they're devoting towards whatever, pet cause they picked up, if they devote it to, let's go back a ways to Bob Geldof's favorite thing, feeding the starving in Africa. Because it even said back then, the amount of food is not an issue, it's the distribution. If they could have put their asses on that job, there'd be Walmarts in Swaziland right now, okay? There'd be 20 Costco's in Zimbabwe by now, okay? Of course, you'd have to get rid of Mugabe and his idiots. But seriously, they can't act... They've won the big fights, okay? That's when progressive was good. Now it is not progressive. It is regressive. They got to take us back in time to when there was a fight and start the fight all over again. Like we had pretty much essentially achieved, for the most part, racial harmony with a few outlying idiots. But society-wise, we were there. But someone's going to dredge shit up, and just start all over again for no other reason to start all over again because that's their livelihood. And because they can't just keep it to the politics thing, they got to drag everybody into it and force into pop culture where like there is no escape. You can't get away. You can't take a couple hours off and just watch a movie anymore to get away from the crap for all and recharge. No, it's got to be every goddamn second. Every waking moment and every few sleeping moments, you got to be in the struggle, or you're not, or you're a racist, Islamic, homophobic, whatever, and And they are finally burning things out. Okay, there is no more outrage left to give. Okay. It's kind of like, with the old Bill Cosby thing about, when the kids are fighting, it's like, parents are not interested in justice. They want quiet. They just want everyone to shut the hell up already. Nobody cares anymore. It's like dovetailing around again. It's what they don't start with. Nobody cares. You can put all the wheelie buttons. Oh, this is what this is what the synopsis is going to be, and this is what the other. Nobody cares. You've killed it. You drum it to the ground so hard. Nobody gives a rat's ass. I mean, right now the only current hope for salvation for Star Trek is the Lower Decks cartoon. The rest of it, it's like, forget it. Picard might be okay. We never know. It depends on how much they can de-Kurtzmanize the thing. But yeah, as long as he's around, it's going to be a problem, and it's not going to be accepted. Because he's got that taint of him. It's like, no, forget it. It's a Kurtzman thing. Forget it. Doesn't count. It's not going to the concordance. Whoa, shit. Okay. The moment you're going along, you realize everyone stopped up ahead. No. And so as we charge on into the latter quarter of this year, forensics, maybe we can all endeavor to just unplug the whole crap. It's just because it's like, they like to throw out. Star Trek was political. One, it was really broadly based political in the sense that it dealt on some certain social issues at the time. Social issues, for the most part, have already been resolved. And also, not every episode was a political diatribe. Some of them were just plain fun romps, okay? Not everything had some deep sociological meaning, and they sure as hell were not taking on the politicians of the time. There is no original series allegory to Lyndon Baines Johnson or Richard Nixon, for that matter, because he was on the scene, but he wasn't. But it was all broad stuff, war and sex and love and stuff, just very broadly things of how we interpret things. Nothing about the issues of the time. Okay, the closest you really got on that was like a Private Little War, touched on the Vietnam War, and the Enterprise incident was kind of inspired by the Pueblo incident, but it was not a direct allegory. It was a case of Dorothy Fontana wanted to write a Mission Impossible script with Star Trek characters. The Pueblo was just a jumping off point. And again, tracking it's on YouTube. There was an ABC when they're doing theater stuff, plays on the TV. The Pueblo, I think it's just called Pueblo or something, but it's about the Pueblo incident. It stars Hal Holbrook. It's not a short thing. It runs on for a while, but it is excellent. And if you know nothing about, because I was 4 years old at the time. Okay, when it happened. So nobody was telling me about, there was a spy ship that was captured off North Korea. No. I didn't know about that till a long time later. Well, actually, not that long ago, because I saw this thing originally, that Hal Holbrook thing. And when it ran on ABC, I didn't know who Hal Holbrook was, so I let you go off for the that was, But I remember I caught it kind of late. I was one of those times when I had control of the TV for the night, and I was flipping channels and came across it maybe halfway through. And that's one thing I would like to start a thing. Have North Korea return the Pueblo. They still have that ship. It's moored in North Korean harbor like a damn war trophy. And I said, either they return it or let's just say a cruise missile goes astray and would blow the fucker up. Give the old girl some dignity and, end the captivity. But yeah, let's, have a break from all the hyper-political nonsense being injected into our pop culture. I think, for one thing, you might eventually see comic books come back. You might see our franchises start to, rebound in popularity. Because I put it this way, people like to be informed and educated. They don't like to be preached at and lectured to. They don't mind, showing a different way of thinking about things. What they don't like is when saying, you must think this, or you are this, and this. When you go down that path, then guess what? You just turned off, a large chunk of your audience. But of course, the people doing this really don't have any big clue about what it means to capture and retain an audience. I can pull up a YouTube clip from Roddenberry when he was at a con back in the day and said, yeah, it's good to have issues, but if you don't have an audience, if it's not an entertaining show, then you're just talking to the empty air and nobody cares. Okay? You have to entertain first. So I think that'll pretty much do it for this morning here. Nothing. It's colder. It's overcast. It might be nice. It's going to get back into the 80s and 90s though. By today, actually, talking about the high 80s. But it should be okay tonight, I guess. PayPal, Patreon, yada yada down below. And the PO box is going to still be Captain Robert April. 4046 North Goldenrod Road, number 115, Winter Park, Florida, 32792. And we will talk at you later.